Hey everyone, welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. I'm your host, Chade Arena. When I was a kid, I binge watched Nickelodeon TV shows. Fairly Odd Parents, SpongeBob, Rugrats, all that stuff was binge-worthy television that I would consume before school, after school, weekends, all of it. Basically, every time I got in front of the TV, I would flip through channels until I found some cartoon that I loved and I would just watch it endlessly. But because I was young, I used to watch it a lot, but I missed out on some hidden meanings that might have gone right over my head. So I've gone back and looked through some of our old favorites to find some very questionable material for today's list of top 10 scary Nickelodeon kid episodes with hidden messages. As always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. Also, follow Most Amazing Top 10 on Instagram and Facebook. It's a great way to get to know myself and the other hosts just a little bit better. And without taking any longer, let's get into this list. Number 10, Drake and Josh, Josh is Gone. We're actually going to kick off this list with a show that I have never seen before. Really for two reasons. This show was a little after my time. By the time this show came out, I had learned what HBO was. And when things like The Sopranos are on TV, Drake and Josh just doesn't really cut it. And two, when I was younger, I didn't really want to watch shows with real people in them. They just seemed boring to me. Why would I watch a show about two brothers bickering when Moses was splitting the Red Sea with a Beyblade? Much better television. But in the episode Josh is Gone, Drake and Josh have a major falling out that ruins their friendship. And throughout the episode, we see Drake's life unravel until he reaches a major breaking point. At the end of the episode, they hang out again, but the friendship isn't entirely repaired. The whole episode kind of has this dark underlying tone that sometimes you lose your friends, and in real life, these guys aren't even friends anymore. Number 9, Adventure Time Apocalypse. Now this one doesn't cover a specific episode because there are so many episodes in Adventure Time that reference the world that existed before the Candy Kingdom.
Hey, good morning. I made you breakfast. It's mostly pine needles and deer guts.
Oh, you're even worse.
Basically, it seems like there was a full contemporary metropolis that was very similar to our world, but there was a massive disaster. Kinda like that gigantic asteroid that barely missed the Earth last week. Yeah, that one that was the size of the Statue of Liberty that would have wiped out an entire continent. If you don't know about that, give it a quick Google search. It'll remind you that nothing matters. But back to Adventure Time. Throughout the show, we get flashbacks to what the world used to be like, and we even get exposed to what happened to all the people. It seems like everyone got turned into some sort of zombie-like creature with green goo oozing out of their faces. Now on to number 8. We got Rocko Goes to Hell. Rocko's modern life was great. You had a well-dressed wallaby who was best friends with a cow, and the two would go on some pretty strange adventures together. But in one episode, Rocko Goes to Heck, we see the show take a pretty dark turn. Rocko's best friend Heifer chokes to death and ends up in hell. Let's just start there. Having your friend choked to death in front of you is a pretty horrible thing to see. You would have to spend plenty of paychecks on therapy to have that one scrubbed from your brain. Then we go to after Heifer dies and is inside hell, which in the show is named Heck for the younger viewers. Once Heifer arrives in the burning underworld, we get to meet Peaches, who is the Rocko's modern life version of the devil. Peaches then starts to do what I assume the devil does best, which is, of course, torture. This then leads us to watching Heifer going through all sorts of strange torments. I think letting kids know that they could be thrown into hell at any moment is a little bit much to take on. Let them find out they're going straight to hell like the rest of us. Number 7, the Danny Phantom opening credits. Having ghost powers is a great original concept. We don't really know what ghosts are or even if they exist, so you can play around with it as much as you want. And he had a very diverse group of friends in the show. The show was really ahead of its time. But what if the backbone of the show, the accident that gave Danny his ghost powers, didn't actually happen?
When it didn't quite work, his folks they just quit. But then Danny took a look inside of it. There was a great big flash, everything just changed. His molecules got all rearranged.
Well, the accident happened, but instead of giving him ghost powers, it sent him blasted into a coma, and all the crazy adventures he goes on are just figments of his imagination in a coma state. There have been cases of people in comas where they can hear what's going on around them. So maybe Danny Fenton is in a coma and all the different characters that are around him are the doctors, nurses, and visitors that are coming in to see him. Maybe the reason he goes between ghost and human form is because he's constantly on the edge of life and death. Number 6. Episode 29 of The Amanda Show. The Amanda Show was one of the best kids sketch shows of all time. It set up Amanda Bynes to be one of the biggest comedy stars ever. But then of course her life took a turn for the wild side and she started saying things about how she wanted to bang Drake. Then she got those permanent dimple piercings, you know, those ones that make you look like you never say no to bathroom drugs. Well, before all this went down, her show had an episode with themes that were a little bit more on the risky side. In episode 29 of The Amanda Show, it starts out with an Italian man who explodes out of nowhere. Then later in the episode, it's followed by a sketch with a family known as the Luckless. They are so unlucky that nothing lucky ever happens to them. This sketch ends with a meteor smashing into the Luckless's home and destroying it. Now on their own, these sketches aren't too bad, but if you wrap in the fact that this episode aired right before 9/11, then you can see why it was taken off the air. A man blowing himself up and a flying object destroying a building would have for sure been in bad taste. And the underlying theme that people might think is there is that it's all conspiracy theory and the Amanda Show people were trying to tell us what was gonna happen. Probably not, but who knows. Number 5. Steve Does Drugs. Blue's Clues. By the time Blue's Clues came out, I was already too old. The anime era had grabbed me, and I wasn't some juvenile kid anymore watching baby shows. I was an angsty preteen who would cry if he misplaced one of his shiny Pokemon cards. Much more mature. But I do know that the show is about a guy walking around his house talking to inanimate objects trying to find clues. He's doing this because it's a fun way to teach kids. Or is the dark message behind the show that Steve is a former detective who worked a case so disturbing that it broke him mentally? Now he spends his days dosing himself with enough drugs to hallucinate and forget the case that tore him down. The detective theory explains why a grown man is so interested in clues, and the drugs explain why he can talk to salt shakers. Either that or he has the worst superpower of all time. I would like to see a dark noir version of Blue's Clues where Steve is trying to solve the murder of a young girl and he has to beat answers out of a fire hydrant. That would be interesting. Number 4 is SpongeBob Dying for Pie. So how did all the characters in the SpongeBob universe come to be sentient beings with complex emotions and an entire society similar to our own? Is it all made up? Or is it because they're sea creatures that got blasted with nukes and now they all got mutated? That's how life starts, right? You blast things with nuclear energy and then everyone gets smarter. Well, the theory is that the underwater world of Bikini Bottom got all of its super intelligent life forms from nuclear bomb testing. This theory is kind of backed up by the episode Dying for Pie, where SpongeBob has a pie with a bomb in it, and when it goes off, it's a nuclear level explosion.
I was saving it in my pocket for us to share. Let's eat. Oops.
This would mean that the people in Bikini Bottom have access to nukes and could be the next global superpower. You don't just get nukes out of nowhere. Maybe they got access to nukes from a failed nuclear test where the bomb didn't go off. They then took it and made themselves someone to be respected at the next UN meeting. Number 3. iCarly. The Nora Dershlet episodes. This is another show that I've never seen before, guys, but I'm pretty sure I get what the show is about. Some girl has some sort of web show and it's kind of famous and she's got a whole bunch of zany friends and her parents are probably pretty goofy too. Basically the same as every other kid's show, but it's about an internet celebrity. Well, one episode dove into something that is actually a real risk for celebrities and influencers. Stalkers. People are willing to buy your old toothbrush off of eBay and stand too close to you when they talk. In the episode, a superfan, Nora Dershlet, kidnaps Carly and a few of her friends. She keeps them locked in her home. Where's this girl's parents? In the show it's very fun and playful and eventually they all escape in the most unlikely way. I swear I could write kids shows blackout drunk. But what's freaky about this stuff is that it happens all of the time, especially now with everyone and their dog becoming some sort of influencer. People are constantly being stalked, attacked, and sometimes even killed. Think about that before you link your location in your next Instagram post. Number 2. Mr. Dink from Doug is a predator. So on the first day of Doug moving into his new neighborhood, he meets his neighbor Mr. Dink. And what's the first thing that Mr. Dink does to the 11-year-old boy that he just met?
Do you have time to watch the official Welcome to Bluffington video? It's short and informative.
Well, my family's starving and I really...
Well, of course you do.
Well, he invites him in to watch a movie all by himself. My god, dude, this is wrong on so many levels. In later episodes, Mr. Dink becomes Doug's Boy Scout leader, which is basically a child molester's dream job. And of course his name is Mr. Dink. How many more warnings do you need? Number 1, Degrassi. Holy! Degrassi touches on so much at one school. We have teen pregnancies, fights, sexual assaults, even Drake gets shot. The dude gets shot and put into a wheelchair. My school was nothing like this. People were all cool with each other, even the pregnant ones. There's too much going on in this show just to pick one episode, but all the hidden meanings are basically that growing up is super hard and you should always wear a condom. Well everyone, that's our list. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. Also, follow Most Amazing Top 10 on Instagram and Facebook. Until next time, I've been Shade Arena, and I need to make sure that I'm not being stalked by anyone. Bye.